Hi everyone, welcome to Morning Matcha. Today's guest is Emily Schilt, who's the founder of Up Grocer, and she's a master CPG curator. Hi.
Hi, what an introduction. Thank you.
I'm so happy we're here today and that you're here in Venice. So exciting to have you on the West Coast. And I'm really excited to just kind of chat more a little bit about Up Grocer in general and how you got started. I know we talked a little bit in New York and where we finally met. And that was your second pop-up, right? That I
Correct.
went to?
Yeah. Yep.
So the first one was in April of last year, or?
Yeah. You did your homework.
Well, we did an article on it.
Oh, yes, right. Of course.
On the fullest. So I remember that. But yeah, I'm just so curious to, hear about your journey before Up Grocer, and you were in the CPG space. So what was your experience before? What got started?
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you for having me here. So I've been in the CPG food and beverage space for the entirety of my career. I was at a small food startup in the early stages of its existence. In the early stages of, my 20s. And
after college, or did you go to college?
Yeah, I did.
I never know.
Yeah. I went to college. I went to a liberal arts school. I majored in business, but really I majored in socializing. So I got my real world education through internships and doing like social media and marketing. So then I went on to do that at this food startup.
Is it something that we would know of, the brand?
It's Giovanni. It's the major Greek yogurt
and you
company.
Worked there in its startup stage?
Yeah, so it was a tiny little company. I think I was the third person on the marketing team.
Unbelievable.
So it was incredible firsthand experience, like a real world MBA,
and I've heard such incredible things about the founder.
Yeah, and I mean, like the founder to be able to work with. Yeah, I mean, he's everything I'm sure you've heard. It's such an incredible story, like rags to riches.
So cool.
American business story. Yeah.
And just kind of touching on Giovanni for a second, was that with Giovanni that was his story, or had he been in the space before and you were really able to learn? Or was it more like everyone was kind of learning from each other?
Everyone was definitely learning together. I mean, he'd had a cheese company prior to Giovanni, and I won't pretend to know the exact details of that, and had been in the dairy industry for some time, but had never run a business like this that was as successful as it was. And similarly, everyone on the team had never done what they were doing respectively before. So it was really a nurturing environment in that way, to nurture my career. Yeah.
What a great opportunity.
Yeah.
How long were you there?
I was there for maybe 4 years. Yeah. But I mean, the company grew faster than like Facebook and Twitter combined at the time or something. Like when I left, it was $1 billion company. I think maybe it was
within 4 years,
$100 million company when I started. Yeah.
Wow.
So, which is still like massive. But, it's mass product. So, but yeah, and then I left there and I went on to be a consultant for emerging food companies, helping them in a similar capacity with what I'd done there. And I've been doing that for like the past 6 or 7 years. And then from that morphed what's now Up Grocer. Yeah.
Do you, so you went on your own, which is a huge step already to do that, but that requires so much confidence. And so what was that like just before? Because that builds your confidence to then go on into a project like this and start a whole business.
Yeah.
Like, how did you find business, or was it word of mouth? Like people would come to you?
Yeah. I wish I could look back, like now I'm all the wiser and I can give great advice. Like looking back, getting into consulting was very accidental. I really took some time off because in my 20s, working for that company, it was my whole life. Like I had no friends. I had no hobbies. I was a very uninteresting single dimension person.
I can't imagine that.
No, okay. Like 100%. I don't even know that woman anymore.
Wow.
But yeah, so I just sort of like took a little bit of time off and did some thinking about what I wanted to do. But in the course of that, some people reached out to me, having known where I'd left and wanting to work with me. And so then I kind of accidentally became a consultant. It wasn't until maybe 2 years ago, too, I would even kind of own that title, because it just didn't really feel like something I was so intentional about.
But it worked.
But it worked. Yeah. I mean, I'm very grateful for that. It worked well enough, you know? And in addition to my client, one-on-one content, branding consultancy, I also always had like another project going on, and usually in the event space. So
you, for yourself or for others?
For others. So like I created a food conference in partnership with another woman.
Fun. What was it called?
And it was called Bitten. And we had like between 20 to 25 speakers on stage giving like short kind of TED-like talks.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, and I think in our second year we had over 400 people in attendance. So it was successful. It might still be ongoing in some capacity. I don't know. And then I created another event series around creativity called Thing of Wonder.
Oh my gosh.
And that
Wonder.
Yeah.
So fun.
Yeah. Yes. I love Wonder as a name. So that was really fun. And I guess Pop-Up Grocer kind of makes sense to me in that it morphs my more traditional marketing CPG background with this kind of creative events production area, in which I've been really curious to.
Yeah, it's the perfect marriage of it all.
It is.
What would you say was just one of the things that you found in general that's just kind of makes it different, the way you approach marketing in the CPG space?
With Pop-Up Grocer?
Yeah, with Pop-Up Grocer and other brands that you worked with, and like kind of what you've learned.
I mean, food brands are definitely changing and coming around to understanding that they brand really, and that they need to be about something so much more than just the products and the integrity of their ingredients, even because we're at this point where that's kind of like table stakes. Like that's the status quo. Like everyone wants to eat better. You should be GMO free. Maybe you should be trying to be organic, or you should be responsibly sourced, whatever. Like you're not going to win at shelf. That's not going to be your differentiating factor. So you need to be about something much bigger. And I think they're really starting to get that. And we're seeing a lot of interesting brands result in this space, but it's taken some time for them to kind of, match like cars or, I don't know, cleaning supplies even, that have kind of understood that for some time.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. And it's difficult to probably tell a brand that too, because they're like, well, we taste really good.
Right.
And we have amazing ingredients and okay, our branding's good, but it's like, what else?
Right.
What's the story?
Yeah.
What
I mean, and every category is oversaturated now too. There's so much investment in food, which just, I honestly do think it's large in part due to Giovanni. It kind of like kicked off the understanding in other categories that there was a real business opportunity here, like at a mass scale. And so there's just so much money in the food space. There's so much competition. You can't just put your granola bar, your protein bar out there in the way that you could 5 or 10 years ago and have people notice you. Really, and again, that was one of the reasons behind the creation of Pop-Up Grocer, is that it's just really a challenge for these brands to have that visibility.
Yeah. So that inspired Pop-Up Grocer, or what else?
Yeah, that's like the boring business side of it. Yeah. Like I wanted my clients, those that I was intimately involved with, to get the visibility that I knew they deserved from having really amazing products. And then selfishly as a consumer, I was privy to all of these amazing brands that were out there, but there wasn't one central location where I could find them.
Yeah.
So I basically it's a totally selfish pursuit. I just wanted to create the place that I wanted to shop in.
And it's gorgeous.
Thank you.
Like it needs to be a full on, like every single day store. Like I want to go there every day. I don't want it to just be a pop-up.
It's a happy place for sure. Yeah. And I mean, that's very intentional. Like, even if Whole Foods has some of the products that I want to buy, for example, I don't enjoy being in there.
Yeah.
It's dark. It doesn't feel like a place where I want to spend money either. Like nothing feels special in there. And so I really wanted to create a place where every product felt like it was worthy of its price tag. It was worthy of my time because, you do have to spend time reading labels and investigating whether it's something that you want to put in your body. And most grocery stores don't create that environment for you.
No. And you guys do a lot of events too.
And we do a lot of events, yes.
I mean, we're doing one together.
Yes, we
in
are.
February, but I mean, you don't see grocery store. I mean, Air One does that, but it's a lot more health focused.
Yeah.
And that's great. But you guys have bridged this gap between just culture as well and bringing, up to date, topics into the store. And I really love and admire that because it's more than just, again, it's not just about the food. It's about the mindset and the mentality and what you can learn from each other. And I think that's beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, me too. I mean, we're living in a time, I'll go like really weird here, but we're living in a time where like we don't have organized religion. We don't have neighborhoods. We have a new sense of family. So, we're looking to Soul Cycle and all of these alternative places to find a sense of community. And I don't understand why your grocery store can't be that also. Yeah.
Yeah, that's such a good point. It's almost like a pop-up grocer is your neighborhood bodega in like a way more elevated way, but you feel like it's more intimate, but it's beautiful too. And you guys have done all the work for people so they don't necessarily have to research too much. But if they want to, they can, like I would probably just sit there and read everything just because I want to.
Yeah, we definitely want to do a lot of that work for you, and that it's a place of trust also, like you can come in and trust everything on the shelf. Because it's been carefully selected by us.
So what would you say is the difference between like the first pop-up grocer and how it's evolved? Has it evolved much since you launched it?
Yeah, I mean like slight things like the duration. It was just 10 days for the first one.
Wow.
I wanted it. I was preparing my like New Year's reflection post or whatever. And so I wanted to find the very first email that I'd sent about Pop-Up Grocer. And I found it, and it actually, I guess my original idea was to do 3 days, which
gosh,
like is
so much
insane.
work. Yeah.
And I like people wrote me that actually in the feedback, because my initial email was just, hey guys, to trusted people, like, hey guys, I have this idea. Please let me know what you would think, if you would pay to participate in this, whatever. And yeah, a lot of people were like, I don't think it should be 3 days.
Yeah.
So thank God, because from a production standpoint, it's a lot to do to then shut it down in a flash like that.
So it was 10 days?
Yeah, so it was 10 days. The space was, we had smaller budget, so the space was different in its design. It was a little scrappier in its nature. What else has changed? I mean, the general structure of it has remained the same. In the first one, we had 100 brands. Now we have, between 150 and 175, close to 400 products. So it's a little bit larger in scale. But I guess the most exciting change is that now we're moving into new markets. So we've had 2 in New York. We'll open in LA on February 7th, and then we open in Austin on April 17th.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's so exciting.
Yeah. And I'm it's just me traveling with my grocery store this year. So I live in LA now, and then I'll live in Austin, and I don't know where my address will be quite yet after that.
Oh my gosh. So fun. We're going to do an Unwell in Austin.
Are
you? End of March, but I want to now move it so that it could be like around the same time.
We should be more proactive maybe about
that'd be fun.
Timing alignment.
Yeah, because I mean, the last one, how funny is that? The last one you did was when we were doing Unwell in New York. How weird.
Right. I think we just opened when you guys... Was it that same weekend maybe?
Yeah, like you opened, you had your opening party that night, and then the next day was our conference. How crazy. Well,
we should be intentional about that. Yes.
Oh my gosh, so funny. So yeah, I mean, I want to hear about how someone goes about from like emailing people. I mean, yeah, you've been working with a lot of brands, so they want the visibility, what they need, and you had this beautiful idea and it worked, but obviously, I mean, how does it work? Like, do you ask them to pay to be part of it? And how do you grow that?
Yeah. I mean, yes, I've been in this industry for the entirety of my short career. And I obviously have contacts and clients, and that was a good starting place. But I love to just encourage people. Like, I really just followed a series of steps, and I emailed. Like, Gmail's probably going to kick me off, you know, like I emailed a lot of people to get the 100 people that we got to participate originally. So, you know, I really am a true believer that, like, if you want to do something, you just have to do it. And that's the hardest part, is just getting started. I mean, I'm aware of my privilege and many things that set me in a certain foundation, but foundational level, but so, our business model is structured in that we are a way in which these brands are advertising, essentially. And I love what we do because we're advertising for them without a whiff of advertising. Yeah. So if you come into our store, we're not pushing anything on you. And you really want to experience these brands and their products. So each brand pays us a showcase fee to participate. And that's the way in which we're able to operate, covers our operative expenses. And then they get the large majority of sales from their products. So,
they get sales back?
Yeah.
So they give you product?
They give us the product. Yep.
Then, okay, that makes sense. So it's almost like it's a direct to consumer sale, essentially, because they make most of it, but they're paying you fees.
Right. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, when I was working with so many brands, they would pay to do sampling, like at Wanderlust or, you know, some kind of festival or conference or something. Or, you know, more specifically, they'd pay to participate in a trade show. So that's how I was coming at it, was like, why wouldn't you pay for visibility among consumers? But we also get influencers, media, buyers, investors. So it's more bang for your buck, really. I didn't even have the experience to think like how we would operate as a retail store.
Yeah.
So, you know, like people would email me and write, so it's basically consignment. And like, I'd go over to Google and be like, what is consignment? And then craft my response. Like, yes, actually, true.
Oh my gosh, that sounds like me.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm like, what's CPG? Oh, okay, got it. That's what I'm doing? Okay.
I mean, when I had my first marketing job, the VP of marketing would always use the term deck, and I would just nod my head. And then one day I went home and I had to Google it. Just like, what? A PowerPoint. Yeah, exactly. Why don't we just call it that?
Like in school, it's called PowerPoint, but in the workplace, it's a deck. So funny. Or a kit.
Yeah, I don't know how people did anything before Google.
I know.
It's my education. It's
so awesome. And now it's like at the palm of our hands, not a whole laptop situation pulling it out.
Right.
So funny. So that's obvious. That's really brilliant to be able to grow the brand and just cover your operating expenses that way and have a plan. And I mean, it's tough. It's not easy. And, you know, you need to also think about there's rent, so you're paying rent, right?
Yep.
And then when your pop-up in Venice, how long is that going on for?
It's 24 days exactly. So our lease is, you know, just a bit longer than that. Yeah,
that's what I'm wondering. Is it like 30 days?
Yeah, like 30 and some change.
So you're painting, you're sanding, you're doing a whole build out.
Yep.
How? Like
that's a question for our designer. I know. I was just having this conversation in the car with my coworker. Like, I'm not good with the in-between stages. I'm really good with the final stages. Yeah, so same. I don't even understand exactly what goes on in the middle because I would just be annoying too, like not helping, nitpicking.
Yeah. So your designer also, like, how did you find the crew that's actually doing the work and labor? Or is it, you know, just your friends and everyone just kind of getting together and helping out?
Yeah. It's definitely, I mean, my designer hires a labor team, and I'm so grateful for her because if I didn't find her, we would have hired an agency that obviously would have been much more expensive.
A lot, yeah.
You know, we've even looked at increasing our budget to allow for a more sophisticated production team and, you know, and then the only way to continue to operate would be to increase our fee to our brands, and then that would limit our ability to work with small brands, all of a sudden, you know, we'd have these massive CPG companies, and it wouldn't be discoverable, and like, bye, okay, we're dead.
I know.
So yeah, it's really important, at least to date, for us to be as lean as we've been and be as, you know, scrappy. So yeah, but I mean, I found her on Instagram, so.
Wow.
Where else, right? Where else do you find anyone in 2020?
I know, like how wonderful Instagram is, and how also
awful it is. Yeah.
But it really is. I mean, I think if you only focus on how wonderful it is and how I mean, we met basically not through Instagram, but like someone pitched it, probably a writer pitched it to us. Who knows how she met you?
Yeah.
But I don't know. We met through Instagram. We talked through Instagram. Then I finally came by and saw you. I mean, it's pretty incredible.
Yeah. I mean, the number of opportunities that we've had, just even from people saying that like we're brand aligned because of our Instagram content. Like they go and they look at, of course, you know, images of the store there, but like whatever graphics we're creating or whatever, and brands like Urban Outfitters are willing to work with us. It's just,
that's really
it's
cool.
amazing from a connections and ease of visibility standpoint. But it's also a black hole that can lead to lack of productivity, shame, guilt.
I know, negativity. I was just talking to someone about that who has a really big presence on Instagram, but she's like, every day I want to delete it.
Yeah, I sort of this just makes me sound like a massive narcissist, but whatever. But I sort of notoriously like just put out content.
Yeah,
I actually
and don't
really
take it in.
Yeah, I don't spend a lot of time watching stories or scrolling through the feed at all.
Yeah, I think that's the way to do it, because your brain just gets so fried.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, it becomes like one blob.
Yeah.
But going back to Up Grocer, because I'm seriously obsessed with it. And I mean, I really am, from all angles, all the things that you've curated, to the events that you're doing, to the spaces, and just how you're able, I mean, like you said, it's really complicated to have this, this brand that you're growing, knowing that you have high operating costs, and not right now, like you're lean, but it still costs a lot. It costs money to pay rent, to do a build out, to travel, to do this, to stay somewhere. I mean,
have
there's
retail
a lot.
staff.
Yeah, to staff the actual space.
Yeah. Incidentals, like our curtain wouldn't stop following. So last time that I hid like our stock room, I paid a TaskRabbit probably $500. You know, these things add up.
Insurance, liability.
Oh yeah, that one's really fun. Got a year plan this time.
Oh my gosh, so crazy. And yet you're doing it, and you have a vision to grow it, and the growth model doesn't look like big brands, but it, you know, so I think it's really inspiring, and I think it's really interesting to talk about, just because I love talking about this stuff. I think it expands my mind and other people's minds and worlds to see what goes behind creating something like this, because it's not just an Instagram account. There's so much that goes into it, and also, like, there are a lot of people in New York City, so getting the word out about Up Grocer maybe was easier in a way. I don't know, but in Venice, it's great because there are so many people walking around where you will be. But it's interesting, like, how do you get the word out? Like, you create this beautiful space, but now what?
Yeah. Well, again, I mean, that's where I'm grateful for social media, because if people come in and have an amazing, or it's impressive, it's remarkable, I'm hoping that then they'll share it.
Yeah.
And that's what spawned a lot of foot traffic for us, even in an overpopulated place like New York. But yeah, I mean, foot traffic in these new cities is going to be a learning experience. And there's a part of me that likes to believe, because it's a convenient theory for me, that it might be even better, because we're picking these areas in new cities that are a little bit more of like the main drag, whereas the rent that we've been able to afford in New York is within a high traffic area, but is the off the beaten path part. So I'm hoping there's a lot of like local, but also tourist traffic there. But yeah, it'll be a learning experience for sure.
And like, how did you negotiate your leases?
Again, yet another thing. I don't know.
It's crazy.
I just pay the bill, you know?
Yeah. But it's like, you know, finding the space that is in a specific location for only this period of time.
Oh, yeah.
For this much money.
I mean, pop-up spaces are much more prevalent in New York, too. That's something that we've already learned, is that vacancies are more frequent in the areas in which we want to be. Because I was just like, oh, I'll come to LA and I'll be on Abbot Kinney and I'll be there for 24 days and I'll be able to afford it. It's going to be great.
And then you're like,
and then I talked to like 2 people in LA and they said, oh, there are no vacancies on Abbot Kinney. You need to get them like 6 months in advance at least, you know, blah, blah. You need to know the landlord. So.
But you still made it work and you're pretty much on Abbot Kinney. Just
pretty much, right.
A little off. Yeah.
I mean, I think.
Which isn't a good area, actually.
Yeah. I think, I feel like I say this a lot, but like, I think one of the most important things for me as a businesswoman is just to make decisions. Mm-hmm. And then if things don't work out exactly, like you will find a way to make it work out some way. Maybe not how you'd perfectly envisioned it from the start, but like, I'm just like, all right, we're going to LA. Mm-hmm. And then once you make that decision and you're public about it, that motivates me too. Then I'm like, oh, well,
that's what
I'm going to LA.
Yeah. That's like us with our conferences. We're like, oh, okay, we have 4 coming up. All right, let's get some phone calls with some brands now.
Right. Yeah, because you've already committed to yourself.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, we're going and we'll figure out the details of it. And it usually, because you're motivated to do so, it usually does pan out.
It'll happen.
Yeah.
So do you think the future is stores that are, what do you say? Like not pop-ups? I'm having a brain.
More permanent, long-term.
Permanent brick and mortars.
Yeah.
Or is it online? Or is it a marriage of the two? Or what do you think?
I think
I'm sure you thought about it a lot.
I think I'm going to learn a lot from entering new markets. Mm-hmm. We are, now I'm like, say things publicly and commit to them. Mm-hmm. So I guess that's what I'm doing now. But we're hoping to launch e-com with the opening of the LA store.
That's huge.
So that'll be another massive learning. Yeah, it's going to be in a very minimal capacity, like drop ship. It's not like all of a sudden now I'm buying a warehouse and so it'll be coming directly from the brands, but it will be meaningful insight to us just to understand if that's something that people want from us as an online curation and buying ability. So
that's a big deal.
It's
right there.
Yeah.
Like I know how that goes. I know having a website and then managing keeping your website going and not getting messed up in the drop ship and them shipping and who pays for shipping and how, just all that.
Mm-hmm. I probably don't even know, but I'm like, we're doing it and we're going to figure it out.
And it's going to be so great. And I really want to be part of that. So that's exciting.
Great. Good.
For me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, one piece of feedback we've gotten from people is in maintaining the pop-up, and then I think would continue to be a challenge in maintaining the pop-up experience, is that we come, you love us, you want to then continue to engage with us somehow, and we just don't currently have a way to do that.
Yeah.
And I'd love to think about other ways that we can do that beyond just buying things from us. But the large majority of people love us because they love the curation and they love these products that they wouldn't otherwise have been exposed to. So I think that's the first point of recurring contact that makes sense for us to activate online.
Yeah.
But I do kind of love the idea of continuing to pop up with e-com as opposed to committing to physical real estate. I'm not 100%, long-term brick and mortar. I'm not 100%. So maybe someone will convince me otherwise.
Yeah.
But I just know in my personal experience, I'm not excited by a place that's always there.
Yeah.
I get bored with it very easily. And we could frequently rotate the merchandise, of course, and reinvent ourselves aesthetically, design-wise, maybe. But I don't know if that's enough. There are a lot of these models out there that are trying to do it. And I'm also just kind of waiting to see how
that goes.
Yeah,
I know
how
that's
they
a really
do.
smart move.
Yeah.
I think it makes sense what you're saying. Like you come and then you go away and people are bummed.
Right.
But once you have the online, then it's perfect because it's sort of you're offering them the experience, and then they get to have that same experience online. And whether they buy from you or they engage with your content, that's like another story, but they can be part of this community that you've built where, I don't know, maybe it's because who is your customer? These are people that probably are, I don't know, just really savvy in this world too.
Yeah.
Maybe they have like, this is going to be my first time being in your store, but I had a product. And so maybe it's people with products. Maybe it's people that want to create products. Maybe it's people that have a lot of insight into the type of product that you're curating. So they want to write a piece for you. Maybe you publish something. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I was on the phone with an investor the other morning, actually, and I said something that now I've continued to say, which is like, I just don't know if I want to be in the business of competing with Amazon either, because I just don't know if that's smart. Well, I don't know if I'll ever be able to do that. So I think being in the business of complementing some of these behemoths that I can't compete with as far as price or delivery time, convenience, but I can help elevate their product offering. And that's something that people want. It just seems like the smarter business move.
It makes sense.
But maybe I'll totally change my mind in 6 months, and that's my prerogative.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting.
We'll see. Yeah.
It's so interesting. I'm excited to follow along and see what you create. I just really look up to you because I love that you do, like, you're just going after it and you're seeing how it unfolds, but you're trying, and thank you. And I think it's just really cool. It's cool to see what other women are creating, and I love all of the stuff you're doing, and it's beautiful too.
Well, thank you so much. It means a lot coming from you, as I admire you. And I think all the time, like, I'm a single woman with no children. Like, I have all the time in the world, and so I'm particularly admire those that have other responsibilities and obligations in themselves. I'm very selfish. So.
No. It's good that you're doing it now.
Yeah. I'm like, now is the time. Yeah.
And that's the best way to look at it. It's like now or never. I just got to do it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining me.
Thank you
I'm really
for having
excited
me.
I think this episode will probably come out right around the time your store's open, so everyone should go check it out.
Yes, we open on February 7th. We'll be open 9 to 7 every day through March 1st.
So fun.
And we will have saffron latte on shelves, so come and get all of the saffron latte.
It's going to be so fun. So thank you.
Thank you.